Europe's demographic shift places systemic pressure on medical infrastructure. An aging population requires constant physical maintenance that current systems are struggling to provide. This map shows the projected growth of European Union citizens over 65, a demographic expected to grow by 50% by 2050. This shift carries a medical burden. 150 million individuals now suffer from chronic musculoskeletal disorders, requiring long-term physiotherapy. Caring for those 150 million patients requires consistent, supervised physical therapy. However, the supply of qualified physiotherapists remains stagnant, creating a massive deficit in available clinical hours. When growing patient volume meets a fixed number of clinical hours, the healthcare system overloads. The result is a drop in the quality of in-person care and a total lack of professional supervision for patients attempting to rehabilitate in their own homes. The math is clear. The traditional model of relying solely on in-clinic appointments cannot scale to meet this rising demand. To treat 150 million patients effectively, the primary environment for rehabilitation must move out of the hospital clinic and directly into the patient's home. But standard home exercise regimens are often ineffective. Without a professional watching their form, patients frequently execute movements incorrectly, which reduces the effectiveness of the treatment and risks further injury. Bridging the gap between isolated home exercise and clinical oversight requires a closed-loop system. This requires a combination of wearable biometric telemetry and artificial intelligence. A new consortium is architecting exactly this solution. HealthHub.sk, HealthTech Portugal, and the HL Hospitals Group are collaborating to build this digital infrastructure. Their objective is to engineer a digital proxy therapist, a system capable of monitoring joint angles and muscle activation to correct a patient's exercise form without a human presence. The first architectural requirement for this system is capturing accurate, high-fidelity biological signals from a patient in a home setting. Basic consumer webcams or the standard accelerometers found in smartphones lack the spatial and physiological accuracy required for medical-grade rehabilitation. This diagram illustrates the first sensor layer, kinematic data tracking. It measures the exact range of motion of a joint moving through space. The second critical layer is physiological data, captured via electromyography, or EMG, which records the electrical activity produced by skeletal muscles. These two sensors operate simultaneously. The hardware cross-references the exterior movement of the limb with the internal electrical firing of the muscle. Combining these two data streams yields an objective, tamper-proof measurement of exercise quality, removing guesswork from the evaluation process. By capturing both the visible geometry of the movement and the hidden internal muscle engagement, the hardware mathematically replicates the diagnostic touch of a physical therapist. Once the biological signals are captured, those dual-stream signals are routed to a central processing unit. This diagram shows data flowing into the central AI processing node, the analytical brain of the platform. The AI analyzes complex movement and bioimpedance data in real time, comparing incoming telemetry against an idealized biomechanical baseline. By identifying subtle deviations from the movement baseline, the system predicts specific rehabilitation needs. More importantly, if a patient performs an incorrect movement, risking injury, the AI triggers an instantaneous alert. This continuous feedback loop allows the system to optimize the physical procedure dynamically, correcting the patient's posture and pace during the exercise session itself. This algorithmic feedback provides the active, medical-grade oversight previously only possible during an in-person clinical visit. Once the AI processes the movement data, those insights are translated for two different end users. The patient-facing interface provides immediate, easily digestible visual feedback, so the user knows exactly how to adjust their body in the moment. This interface integrates specific gamified elements. Interactive visual goals and progress tracking are implemented to increase the patient's motivation and ensure exercise adherence over months of physical therapy. The secondary routing pushes data to a clinician-facing dashboard. Here, the physiotherapist reviews the aggregated objective sensor data to monitor the patient's progress. This dual routing architecture allows the patient to exercise independently and safely, while granting the therapist the ability to adjust treatment plans from afar. Theoretical architecture is effectively useless in medical device development without rigorous human validation. Phase 1 of the project, spanning the first 6 months, focuses on rapid prototyping of the sensor hardware and validation of the basic software architecture. This flowchart outlines Phase 2, running from month 7 to 18. Here, the fully integrated system undergoes pilot testing on a cohort of at least 100 human subjects, split between traditional methods and digital physiotherapy. The trials test the system across a variety of different MSK diagnoses, ensuring the AI algorithms have broad clinical applicability across multiple joints and injury types. The primary clinical metric is direct comparative efficacy. Researchers measure the recovery rates of the patients using the digital system against the baseline performance of traditional in-person physiotherapy. Concurrently, the engineers continuously validate the accuracy of the wearable hardware to ensure the sensors perform accurately across these varying diagnostic scenarios. Phase 2 serves as the definitive crucible. The data collected here determines mathematically if the AI proxy meets the human standard of care. The final milestone is Phase 3, spanning months 19 through 24. This phase focuses on implementation, optimization, and preparation for commercialization. As visualized in this project timeline, the M19 to M24 segment marks a strict operational shift. The consortium moves from testing R&D prototypes to actively deploying the technology into daily clinical workflows. The specific implementation target requires active integration across at least 3 clinical sites, bringing the digital platform directly into operating hospitals and dedicated rehabilitation centers. Deploying new hardware requires overcoming institutional friction. To achieve integration, the consortium organizes workshops to train healthcare professionals and physiotherapists on operating the digital tools. Simultaneously, the team executes a scientific dissemination strategy, publishing trial results in peer-reviewed journals and presenting at international conferences to build consensus within the medical community. The final requirement is securing at least 2 strategic technology partnerships to ensure the long-term manufacturing and software sustainability of the platform. A medical device only succeeds if the human healthcare infrastructure is thoroughly trained, properly integrated, and ready to adopt it. We began with a massive structural bottleneck, 150 million European patients suffering from musculoskeletal disorders, and a severe shortage of clinicians available to treat them. This diagram shows the complete closed-loop model in action. The combination of wearable motion tracking and EMG sensors connects the clinical environment to the patient's home. By utilizing artificial intelligence to process telemetry and provide immediate automated corrections, the system mathematically multiplies a single therapist's capacity without diluting their clinical precision. This model establishes a scalable framework for rehabilitation, moving clinical oversight into the home to meet the actual volume of the European MSK crisis.